Hey guys, it's Mike and another We Know Video Game production, and we wanted to show you guys what our collection looks like so far. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to that, and we'll start with the original Nintendo. So, this is our Nintendo NES collection. We might have a few more things laying around that I'll get to, things that we don't keep with the rest of it because they stand out to us for nostalgia or collector's reasons. But basically, these are our complete in-box games. Look at that, Zelda in amazing condition, missing the whole top flap. But anyways, some of these, are games that I was really into as a kid. Some of them are things that I'm getting more into now. Like Dragon Spirit, I was a huge fan of as a kid, and I still think it's a really underrated game. Basically, it's like a bottom-to-top scroller where you're a dragon, you're blowing stuff up, you can get power-ups, grow additional heads, throw more fire. Super fun stuff like that. Dragon Warrior 1 and 3. I'm in the process of trying to acquire 2 and 4. I'd like to get that whole set for NES. We've got Super Mario 2 and 3, still need Super Mario 1. There's a lot of stuff that I need, but that's what we've got going for now. By the way, if you don't have an NES cleaning kit, you should get one. They're amazing. Really, really good. I come across a lot of different NES consoles, and when I use that, it pretty much gets them to work on the first try. For my loose cartridges, there's a couple games in there that are rare that are really good. Nightmare on Elm Street is a little more rare. The music in it for its time is really good. Contra Force is like a $100 cart. I picked that up in a huge bundle when I first started collecting. A couple more recent titles I've acquired that are a little more rare or valuable. Ghost Lion I recently came across. Kirby's Adventure, Mega Man 1. For some reason, Mega Man 2 and 3, I'm like a magnet. They just come to me. I've probably gotten like 3 or 4 copies of each one, but only 1 copy of the original Mega Man. Super C is a pretty good game, and I've got Turtles 1 and 2, so those are pretty cool. I think that, I'll go ahead and show you guys this now. My awesome wife got me this for Christmas. Amazing condition. Original Final Fantasy. Very cool. So, I think that is about it for our NES collection though. And we'll move on to SNES. So, for Super Nintendo, we've got a couple of boxed games here. We actually have more than this, but they're seriously like the crown jewels of my collection. So this is what's over here. I'm probably going to get a collector's case for Zombies Ate My Neighbors and move it up with my other games, because that is definitely one of my favorite games as a kid. For loose cartridges, I'm looking to see if we have anything really rare. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest and Final Fantasy 2 are down there. We've got... recently, actually, it took me a while to come up with Star Fox. And, I'm trying to think. I feel like they're... Oh, yeah. Super Mario RPG. Shout out to my friend Tyler. I've been looking for that game, and he had a couple copies and gave me a good deal on one. That was pretty cool of him. And we've got like Mario Paint stuff here. I've had a few of the mouses, but I really hadn't found many of the Advantage joysticks, so that was pretty cool to get. And I think that's about it for Super Nintendo. So we'll move on to GameCube. So, for GameCube, our collection isn't too big, but there are a couple of good games in there and a couple of valuable games. We have Animal Crossing, which is a little bit more valuable. I think it's like 15-20 bucks. Probably the coolest part of our collection, though, is that we have, I think, every Zelda game released for GameCube, which is a pretty neat thing to have. We've got Mario Party 4. I'd really like to get the rest of the Mario Party titles. I have them all complete in box for 64, so I'd like to keep that tradition going for GameCube. A couple Resident Evil titles. I need to get the rest of them, though. We've got Super Mario Sunshine, Super Smash Melee, and I think that's about it for GameCube. It's definitely a work in progress, so I'll keep you guys updated if we come up with more for that. So if you thought our GameCube collection was small, then our Wii U collection is really small. But there's a reason for that. My logic is that Wii values are going to, or the Wii game values at least, are going to continue to decrease, and I feel like I'll be able to get a lot of good titles for a much more affordable price pretty soon. Now that the next-gen consoles have come out, I feel like the values on these games haven't bottomed out yet, but they'll get there. So I really trimmed a lot of the fat from my Wii collection and kept just the stuff that I felt like might retain or go up in value, which was Zelda, Skyward Sword, and Twilight Princess, Mario Kart, Mario Party 8 and 9, the new Super Mario Brothers, because any game with Mario in the title is going to go up in value probably, Mario Galaxy 2, and then Xenoblade Chronicles is a really cool game. It's kind of rare. Last I checked, the value of this was around 60 complete in box, which is much higher than your average Wii game right now, so definitely a cool game to have and hold on to. And we'll move on to Game Boy. So during our time collecting, we've come up with a ton of different colors for Game Boy and Advance SP handhelds. Unfortunately, we weren't really collecting for them, and we used them as basically fodder to get money to buy the stuff that we really wanted, and just recently have we started holding on to them. So you can see we've got 2 different colors of the Game Boy Color, 6 different colors of the Game Boy Advance SP, including this pretty rare lime green and orange one. Pretty cool. And we've held on to a few games for the Game Boy, but not a whole lot. Some Pokemon titles, a Conker's game, stuff like that. And we've got a few DS games, but mostly RPGs that I actually play every now and then. Dragon Quest 9 and 6, some Final Fantasy titles, Kingdom Hearts because my wife loves the Kingdom Hearts series, and some stuff like that. So that's really what we've got going for DS, and we'll move on to the next section. So this is pretty much our main focus in collecting right now. I want to, basically in collecting, my end goal is to finish as many complete sets as I can, and I figured that 64 would be the first thing to start with and one of the easier ones to accomplish. I know there's you know, consoles with smaller libraries out there, but this is what I really wanted to go for, and I wanted to do it with boxes for the game. So right now I'm sitting at, I believe, 75 out of 296. I'm a little bit more than 25% of the way done, but I actually have loose cartridges back here, loose cartridges here, and loose cartridges here. So I think I have 75 different boxed games, no duplicates, and nearly 100 carts with no duplicates. So I'm working on it. We just recently, this part is really cool, finished our color variation 64 console collecting. We have all 9 of the US released colors. We'll actually be going for a few more colors, probably the overseas releases, but we have all 9 of the American ones, every color made, and eventually I'd like to finish these in box as well, and I'm actually 33% of the way done with that, because if you look up, we already have the standard charcoal gray box, we've got the Pikachu box, and behind our Final Fantasy title, we've got the Donkey Kong box. And above those, we've actually got 4 different color variations for controllers, 3 official Nintendo ones, red, green, blue, and a third-party Shark Pad Pro in-box. Or actually, that's not in-box, it's just the box. So you can see our 64 collection is definitely our primary focus, and we're really working hard on completing that, and we'll keep you guys updated on the progress for that. Okay guys, so this section here is going to be our PS1 and PS2 section. I've got some PS3 and PS4 stuff, I believe, upstairs, but just going to show you the more retro stuff right now. For PS1, I've got a couple of pretty good titles. Beyond the Beyond, Chrono Cross, the Final Fantasy titles. Karsha is an amazing game, super underrated. Legend of Dragoon, Parasite Eve, Persona 2. We've got all 3 Resident Evils, Saga Frontier, we have Suikoden, and Vagrant Story, and I'll actually show you guys this one because I recently picked it up and the condition of it is really just stellar. Very cool that it's in such good condition. I don't know if it's going to show up in the camera, but you can actually see that the disc has, it almost looks like it's never been played, to be honest. Manual is pristine, and it actually still has the 2000 collector's CD from Squaresoft that came with the game. Very cool. And I also will show you guys these two controllers. Somebody posted those on Craigslist that lived about 30 minutes away from me, but when I saw them, I had to have them. I just thought they were so cool looking. Very, very cool. I've never seen them anywhere else. I was able to find them on the internet, so I mean, I don't think they're the rarest thing in the world, but just the looks of them were so cool to me. So I went ahead and got those. Moving on to PS2, I've really trimmed this down a lot because these games are still pretty much bottomed out in value, but I held on to stuff that I really like, the Dark Cloud titles, Final Fantasy titles, Kingdom Hearts titles, Legaia 2, you know, a lot of the stuff like that. Mega Man, I think I held on to somewhere. Yep, there it is. My wife pointed it out, Mega Man X Collection. Got some more rare, well, I won't say rare, but good RPGs down here. Radiata Stories, or I believe it's Radiata, as they say in the game. Shadow of the Colossus, some really good stuff down there. We have all three of the Xenosaga titles. We have Wild Arms 3, we have War of the Monsters, Valkyria Profile 2, I mean, some really cool games. We have both of the Battlefront games, which of course are great games. And right below that we've got a small collection of PSP stuff. I really don't collect a whole lot for PSP at all. I'll get there someday, but it's just not my focus right now. A couple Final Fantasy titles and some other random stuff that have come in bundles that I purchased. So that is it for Sony. So guys, this section is going to go over our original Xbox and 360 collections, neither of which is very large. Again, just not my priorities to collect for. But I do have a couple of cool titles. I've got Conker's Live and Reloaded. I just recently, within the last week, picked up a Halo Collector's-like type pack. It's basically got Halo, Halo 2, and the Halo 2 multiplayer map pack in it. I think that's pretty rare. I've had a really hard time finding other copies of it online. And from there, I don't think there's too much else in the original Xbox that really jumps out at me. Dungeons & Dragons Heroes is a super underrated game, very cool. It's in the same vein as Champions of Norath for PS2, which is an amazing game, both of them. And for 360, I really have not tried to collect this at all. This is all stuff that came in bundles of older games that I bought. And I've just held on to them because I figure someday I probably will collect for 360. Dynasty Warriors games are good. Darksiders 2 is actually a great game. But I think that's really, you know, about it for the Xbox 360 stuff that I really like. Fallout games, I guess I'm just not into the Western RPGs as much as other people. And Final Fantasy 13 was definitely a step backwards in the... I'm going to say, and how good the Final Fantasy games traditionally are or were to me. So that is pretty much it for our Xbox collection. So this section of the video is really going to be our Sega stuff, but before I get there, I wanted to show a couple of other things. It's just such a short section that I figured I'd lump it in with the Sega stuff. I just recently, within the last week, picked up this Lynx 2. It's actually in the bag. It looks very nice, but I haven't even turned it on to see if it works, to be honest with you. And then, these are my first ever complete in-box Atari games. I picked them up about a month ago. Got really lucky. The guy told me he had boxed Atari games. I took a stab. I didn't even ask what they were. I met with him. He had all of these, and his Atari was a heavy sixer. I paid 30 bucks for everything, so that was a awesome deal. But let's get to the Sega stuff. So this shelf is basically our Genesis stuff. There isn't anything super valuable here that really jumps out at me. There's some things that are a little more rare, like this. I know it's Madden, but hey, this was a Blockbuster rental exclusive. kind of like Sculptor's Cut or Flintstones for NES, you know. It could only be rented, and I went ahead and picked that up just because I figure you never know when something like that's going to go up in value. I think I paid $10 for this. It's not that bad. This McDonald's game I just recently got in a trade from a friend of mine named Jay. I traded him, I can't remember what I gave him, I think a couple of DS games, but I really wanted this because I feel like it's one of those games that you just never know. Like, it could just skyrocket in value because it's McDonald's, you know? I mean, it sounds silly, but these are sometimes the kind of games that seem to be worth a whole lot. Let's see what else. We've got Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 in box, which is always good. Streets of Rage. We have Sunset Riders in box, which is pretty cool. I'd probably prefer to get it for Super Nintendo, but until then, this will hold me over. We've got a couple of loose cartridges on the side, nothing amazing, you know, Sonic 3. We do have Mega Turrican, which is a pretty valuable game. Pirates of Darkwater is a underrated game in my opinion. That's a really good game. But I just picked up a Sega bundle that I'm going to be shooting a video for that I got a game from that is at least twice as valuable as anything you see here. I'm not going to give it away what it is, but it was definitely a pleasant surprise when the guy met me and had it. But anyways, moving on. This is our Sega 32X, Sega CD, and Game Gear. Nothing really amazing there. Sonic CD is a cool game to have. Our local retro store had like 50 copies of Night Trap given to it. Some guy came in and he had, I think, like knew the producers of Night Trap or something and had like 1 million copies of it. So I got Night Trap complete in box super cheap. This Master System I picked up from the same store. It was untested with no cords, so I got it dirt cheap. I haven't even tested it yet. I don't have the cords to do so. But I think I paid like $9.99 for this or something like that. So the Sega Saturn stuff, they're actually, there are a couple of rare titles in it that I really enjoy. Legend of Oasis, Panzer Dragoon, Panzer Dragoon 2, and Warcraft 2: The Dark Saga. They're all either rare or really good games, at least in my opinion. So, you know, I definitely like that part of the collection. It's, again, all of this stuff I used to have a lot more of and really slimmed my collection down to hold on to the stuff I actually enjoyed. And then Dreamcast, the only thing that really jumps out at me, to me for Dreamcast, I have Skies of Arcadia. We have Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 as well, which of course are great games, but Skies of Arcadia is really the crown of my Dreamcast collection, at least for now. And I think that's it for Sega. So we will move on to our console boxes and basically the stuff in our collection that is really valuable or our favorite type of stuff. So let's move on. Alright guys, this is going to be the last section of the video, and it's basically all of our consoles, controllers, console boxes, strategy guides. We actually have an arcade machine and stuff like that. I'm going to show you guys all of that. We're going to move left to right in a circle around the game room, and I'll kind of talk as we go. So we've got a few strategy guides, nothing amazing. Some collector friends of mine really try to get these. I don't. This is basically stuff that I've just gotten as I collected. The only thing that really is amazing in this is the Final Fantasy X2 is a collector's edition and actually has an art book inside of it. That's really cool. We've got a Vita box, we've got Silver PSP, the DAX edition, which is pretty cool. This is something really neat to me. This is a AD&D game for the Commodore 64 on 5 1/4 inch floppy disks. Yes, that's right. The old discs that you used to play Oregon Trail on when you were in like 3rd grade. How cool is that? This is actually truly completed, even has the registration card for the game, just in case I still want to register the game 30 years after it was released. Moving on, we have a boxed controller pack for the 64, kind of just a random thing to have, I know. I actually have 2 of those now, so one of them's for sale or trade. We've got a Model 1 Genesis complete in box. We have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team Factory Sealed. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan, but when you can get a Pokemon game sealed, that's pretty cool. We showed you guys our boxed 64 stuff, but still, just to point it out again, we've got the Jungle Green box console. Final Fantasy NES complete in box is an amazing condition. bunch of NES box stuff here. Pikachu set, the gray console, and the controllers that you see. These are really the crown jewels of my collection. Like, these are my favorite games from when I was a kid. I have great memories with these. Final Fantasy III is seriously in my top 3 favorite games of all time. I would have to say, for consoles anyways, it would be Final Fantasy III, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together. Illusion of Gaia still has the shrink wrap on it. It is opened, but it does still have the shrink wrap. Gemfire, I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy Neil from when we were kids. He was my Gemfire buddy. We used to play that game all summer long against each other and had a blast doing it. And there doesn't need to be a whole lot said for Chrono Trigger. Pretty much everybody knows that that is definitely one of the greatest RPGs of all time. Some people would argue the greatest. And we have a Super Nintendo Complete in Box behind that. Moving on to a small shelf down here, I have a very rare console called the JVC-Xi. It's basically a Sega Genesis 32X and CD built in one, made by the company JVC. Very rare. We've got a Model 1 over here, a Model 3, a black Wii. We also have some Desitin because we just had a baby. Yeah, that's part of our collection. Sweet pickup, that baby, let me tell you. Anyways, we've also got a control deck for the NES, the original Game Genie for the NES, another Super Nintendo box, which seems redundant, but the boxes are different. This is really cool, and a lot of my collector buddies were actually kind of envious or, just jealous that I got it. And the reason why is because we have a local retro store that posted on Facebook that they had this for sale. They didn't put a price with it. I assumed it was going to be very expensive. I called the store and they pretty much astonished me when they said it was complete in box with styrofoam and everything, and the dog bone controller for, I believe it was $89.99. I had a $10 off coupon, and I believe I picked this up for about $80 with tax. It was pretty amazing. We also have red Wii, black Wii boxes. This is all newer stuff, so nothing too exciting. 360 box. We do have a Dreamcast complete in box. This is our second one, so I have another one to sell or trade. Let me know if you're interested. I've got a DDR box for PS2, which means nothing to me, but it was part of a bundle I picked up. This is really cool. This is a Gauntlet 2 arcade game. I want to say it's from '86. Let me double check. Yep, '86. Made by Atari. My wife always asked me if I ever wanted any arcade games, and I really pretty much said no unless it was a Gauntlet title. And sure enough, one day I was checking Craigslist, and this guy had Gauntlet 2 for sale. He had cleaned the machine, replaced the joysticks and buttons so they all look amazing. It's set up for free play right now and gets a ton of use between my wife, myself, my 3 kids, and my family members. Every time people come over, they have a blast with it. Even the decals on the side are really cool. I mean, it's all there. Very, very cool. Moving on, we're almost done. We've got a PS4 and Guitar Hero box down there. The guitar is in the box, the PS4 is not. For our consoles, this is all set up on 2 AV switches. We've got one here and one here. And believe it or not, every single system can be accessed anytime we want between 2 different AV channels on our TV and the 2 AV switches. So that's pretty cool. I can literally turn on every single console, hit buttons, and they'll all pop up on the screen. So, but we've got original NES, SNES Mini, 64, black GameCube, red Wii, PS2, black Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, and the Genesis 32X Sega CD-in-1. All of those are hooked up right now and can be turned on all at the same time. This shelf is basically our controllers and a couple more consoles, but I already showed you we had the black GameCube. Here's the platinum and purple. Here's a gray Dreamcast. Oh, there goes a controller. PS1 Slim, which has some writing on it. I need to get a nicer one. This is really cool though. Virtual Boy. Just picked this up within the last week. I traded, when we were collecting 64 console color variations, the last 2 we needed were grape and smoke black. I actually traded a Wii U, which I had 3 of them, and I'll explain that sometime if anybody wants to know. But basically just look up Sears Wii U 59.99 Fiasco or something, and I picked up 3 of them. Traded one of them unopened for the Virtual Boy complete with a game and a Grape 64 with matching controller and expansion pack. Pretty much equal value trade, right around $300 in value, but I feel like the things that I got will go up in value. The Wii U is going to go down in value. So definitely a good deal for me. 3 different colors for GameCube controllers. I think 6 colors for a Dreamcast. Yep. This is the most recent one. For some reason this one eluded me for a while. The Sega Sports black controller that came with the Sega Sports Dreamcast. We've got a Nintendo 64 cartridge box that is unused. I'd be interested in selling or trading that. It came in a bundle that I picked up. We have the actual original JVC XI controller, which is pretty cool. I think I have 2 of these. The other one must be, I don't know, somewhere else. We've got some Genesis controllers, some more rare ones, or rarer, I guess. The 6-button controllers I know are more valuable. We have this typical Saturn 6-button controller, and then we have the Nights into Dreams 3D Sega Saturn controller. And what's really cool is we actually have one of those complete in the box down there. We have an original SNES controller box and a Dreamcast keyboard complete in box. And lastly but not least, guys, we have a Genesis Model 2 complete in box. We actually have the Halo Collector's Edition green transparent console complete in box with matching controller. And under that we have the typical black Xbox complete in box. I think there's a PS3 box back there. And we have some more rare stuff around the house that I'll probably show you guys every now and then. Stuff like this bag. This was a Nintendo NES bag that you could put your console and games in and carry it around. I have another carrying case for NES that was official Nintendo brand, and I also have one of those for Atari. But anyways, I think that that pretty much sums it up, guys. That's our collection for now. I'll keep you updated as we go and as we acquire more things. Hopefully you'll get to see us complete the boxed 64 collection before too long. And that's it, guys. I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/WeKnowVideoGames. We also have a retro collecting group on Facebook. It is Facebook, or the name of the group on Facebook is the Retro Video Game Post. So check us out. Request to join. Yeah, request to join, and I'll get you guys in the group. All right. Thanks. Bye.